what happens when you scale fast to 260 plus files a year, but your business no longer fits your lifestyle? Well, Joline Cloutier and I chat today about how she scaled a very large business with just her and her husband, and how she had to completely reinvent herself as well as change the way she does things in order to create something that makes sense for her. We talk about how she scaled out staff, how she led to some burnout and breaking points, how she created a podcast that's not about mortgages, how she's doing a complete system rebuild. If you want to grow fast and you want to build a business that you don't need a break from, you're going to want to listen to this episode. Hey, I'm Scott Peckford. This is the I Love Mortgage Brokering podcast. And each week we bring you guests and stories and tactics to help you grow your business. I'm the founder of Bricks Mortgage. And I just want to say I had a great conversation with Joline. And honestly, it was very inspiring. And before we get into this, though, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Ownwell. Ownwell is a tool made by some really smart people. What it does is it runs these reports that they send to your clients on a monthly basis that shows your buying power and your home equity. And the great part is that your clients get these reports. The click rate 60 to 80%, and it creates conversations around what can I do with my house? Should I do a refinance? Can I buy another house? And it's an amazing tool. Check them out at ownwell.ca/Scott and check out this conversation with Joline. Hey, Joline, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
So I always like to ask, tell me about how you got into the mortgage biz.
All right. So I started in 2009 full time. And it was because my husband had started in 2007 as a mortgage broker. And he was too busy. So like 2008 is when like the rates really dropped. So he got so busy. And he was very French from like Edmundston, like northern New Brunswick. So he wasn't comfortable like speaking to like the English clients. So he's like, hey, can you like, I had another job. And he's like, can you like call them, take the application, and like, I'll do the more like background stuff, the bank stuff. And I'll just,
little did you know he was just he's going to be like, peace out.
So 15 years down the line. So then we started working together. Eventually I had to choose, like I couldn't do both, right? So I got busy. So I was like, okay, I was in marketing, like brand new out of college in marketing, which I love. I love marketing. So it was kind of like a decision of like, okay, well, obviously I'm making so much money here, mortgage broker, versus what I was doing at a starter position.
When you say marketing, what do you mean? Because that's a pretty broad.
That's the college course that I took was marketing. And then I was doing fundraising, I was a marketing coordinator for a non-for-profit is where I was. So that was like my first job. But it was more like recruiting people for like fundraisers and stuff, and just kind of keeping up with, I don't know, flyers and whatever, being the communicator, organizing events. So I really like loved it. I love people, right? So, and that's like exciting to me. So yeah, when Patrick started, being like, hey, can you help? And I was like, cause when I was watching him do like being a mortgage broker, I was like, I could do that. Like I always knew, I had an inkling that it would like maybe come to that. But I knew I could like do the job because I just love talking to people and helping them. So, so then, I eventually decided like, we'll just jump into it full time. And, so I've been doing it for a long time. So we did it together. Obviously he was like a mortgage ninja. He was like the big, like top producer, like for years and years, like, in the industry, and with the little like $100,000 mortgages, he was doing like just pumping mortgages. So
like how many mortgages in a top? Like what was the most mortgage you guys done in a year?
The most was 260 some, I think.
With how much staff?
Just him and I. That was just us.
You know what I find, man, that these smaller markets with you guys are just so much more efficient. There's just no, compared to the bigger markets, with the bigger mortgages, I don't know what happens, but my observation has been people that have smaller mortgage markets, they seem to just be more productive than.
Maybe, right. I don't know what we were doing. Like Patrick was just like a ninja. He was like, had a phone in one ear and then like typing an email at the same time, like answering to like the office phone and his cell phone. He was just like, it was pretty insane to watch. Like it was, anyways, so he was able to do that. I'm more like a laid back, like, okay, when they come, I just, I mean, whatever, like
take care
comes
of them,
in a day.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm more like that type of person, like really taking more of my time with them. But he's like, okay, I need that pay stub by noon. And then they're like, okay. And then they would do it. So it worked. So we did that for many years, together. I mean, I say together, but really we're just two mortgage brokers doing our own clients and in the same office. There's other agents too, that aren't like it just on their own in our office. So we did that for years. And then 2021, so Patrick had some apartments, with his dad, since like 2012. And then in 2021, they incorporated and like doubled the amount of apartments. They bought like a whole other bunch, which was a good move now looking back. So at that point, he got too busy with renovating like his apartments and like all of the stuff going on. Where I was like, that's when we hired our, savior. So my assistant slash, she does fulfillment basically, but she's like my, assistant for a lot of things. She helps me with a lot of things. So when she came in, that's when we like saw that he was like trying to do everything and it was just not, he couldn't keep up with everything and like mortgage things would come up and we're like, okay, so we took like basically what was left of the files to finish them. And then we're like, go do your thing. You'll come back whenever if you want to. And then he's been crazy busy with that ever since. So, basically I like took over all that and had to, be more organized and really like, okay, like now I'm the one running the show here. So, cause I always let him do it. So that was like a big transition for us for sure. Yeah, it's been a crazy for last 4 years for us.
And then have you ever had like, you said you had brokers work for you before?
No,
you
no,
never. You've always had like pretty much primarily you guys focus on your own production, right?
Yeah.
And okay.
I just got tired of and we would like send faxes. Like back then it was sending everything by fax. So it was like you met the clients, got all their documents, made copies, do the whole package, and you would fax it to the bank and hope that they get it and also that you didn't need to send anything else. But if you did, I mean, whatever, it was a few other faxes, but it was a lot less like back and forth, I would say, than like now. I feel like now it's just like,
right. What do you feel is different? What do you think is the biggest, what's good about now and what's not as good?
I feel like there's too many emails, I just get lost in there. Like, my brain just like my battery. If I was a battery, you would see like it drain, like just the emails and the too many ways to communicate with you. So like personal DMs, then you have your Instagram ones, like Facebook, Instagram, then you have your business one, then you have your text messages and voicemails and calls and like emails. So it's like, there's just too many ways, which is also something that I realize you have to train people how, like, what do you prefer? And what works best and where do you want people to like communicate with you? So like when someone's like, hey, can you send this to me by email? Like if I'm like sending a DM to someone, I'm like, hey, do you want to be on my podcast, which is how I do it to get guests on my podcast. I just send voice messages because they're like, what's this? Right. So they'll listen to it. And then they hear my voice and stuff. But then sometimes they're like, hey, can you just send it to me by email? And I respect that so much because it means that they're organized. And they want it to be all in one place. So to me, I'm like, I get it. I get that for sure. I'm not as, organized like that, but I definitely am on track to like wanting to become better at it. So, but I don't know. Yeah. That's where I'm at.
Tell me about your podcast. No, I agree with you. You've got to, I've talked to some really smart brokers about this, and there's a few ways you can do it. Obviously, one of them is push everybody into a single channel as much as you can. When it's mortgage related, as soon as it's file related, say, hey, just for, so that you can give them a reason for compliance or for, so my team and I can make sure we don't miss anything. Can you make sure anything that's to do with the mortgage? Because what can happen is you can have somebody message you, hey, I've changed my mind I want to change my down payment in a text. Well, that's text. And now you've got, and no one else knows that this, and then the documents come out and they're wrong, and you're like, now you got to just extra work. Versus if everything came in through a single point,
Yeah.
then
one thing I find for sure, and like I find with our team now, like because we're more than one person, right, doing a file, is where we see that it's like my client texts me, and then she doesn't, like, fulfillment doesn't know that, oh, they wanted to change this. Like, you have to think about everything. So that's where I'm at right now, is to like really streamline like our process and really having it being organized, because we're just right now we're just kind of doing our best at picking everything up that comes at us, I guess, and organizing the chaos. But I'm ready to like feel calm in my mind and body, and just like everything's under control and everyone knows what they need to do, what their lane is. The biggest thing for me though is when someone reaches out anywhere, phone, DM, email, whatever, we just always send the link to apply. And so that way, wherever they came from, they're all going to come in one place. So that was the biggest thing in 2021 when like I created my like inquiry, I guess, steps until like the pre-approval stage. That's how I organized, like, that was like the biggest thing I did in our business for sure, was hiring someone to help me like create that process. We tweaked it so many times too. We tried all those things, like seeing where it would like, where the bottleneck was, like, so, and I realized like I'm not good at deciding who I want to call first on my list. So like getting clients to schedule their call was probably the biggest game changer for me. And I was scared to do it because I was like, I don't really want to like give them access to my calendar and them decide, like, but then I was like, I just need to try it and I'll see. And it was the biggest,
because
like,
of the volume of leads that you generate. I mean, they're self-selecting in some ways. So the people that are the most serious will do the book call, or is the people who are just kind of, so
if it's in a week, they're not like in a rush. But I would have to decide, use my brain power to like my energy to be like, oh, do I call them first? Oh, like just have to think about it too much. And then I'd kind of like freeze and not call. I mean, like I just feel like I'm not good at it. So that was the biggest like difference for me, was for them to schedule. Cause then like I have to call them at 10. Do you know what I mean? Like it's in my schedule. So that for me really works.
Tell me about your podcast. When did you start it, and what's the goal?
I started my podcast 2023 in July. I had thought about it for years. I was like, oh, I'd love to like start a podcast, but I don't know about what, and I don't want to do it about mortgages because it's like I talk about it all day long. Like that's not what I want to talk about.
Like I get, how much could you really talk about?
Yeah, I'm
purchase
like
plus improvements without going crazy.
I know, right? And I knew I wanted to like have one and do it because I just love talking to people and like doing videos. It's easy for me. But I'm really curious about people. So I was like, do I want to have guests? Do I want to do it solo? Do I want to have the same person and just two people talking? And I knew that I'm better at having someone else for sure than solo. I've only done like one solo episode because I felt like it. But other than that, so I have guests. So, and what prompted me to do it was, I was like, I'm interested in knowing people's like specific stuff, like people that start businesses or shut down their businesses and like totally change their lives. Like I see people around me and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what are they like? I want to know the story. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to start it and we'll see where it goes. I can change directions anytime. Like I'm the boss here. So, I make the rules. So I decided to, I just asked a few people that I was like generally like, genuinely curious about, people that I knew. I was like, hey, I started my podcast. Do you want to be on it? I hadn't done anything yet. I just decided I was starting it. And they're like, yeah, for sure. So I was like, it's people that follow the things that light them up in business and in life. And I just like, I'd love to have you on. They're like, yeah, for sure. So I had like 3 or 4 people say yes. So I was like, okay, now I need to figure out the rest.
Keep going.
Yeah. So I already had my CRM for the mortgages. So I just created a form with a link and sent it to them so that it was actually organized like from the start for that stuff. And yeah, I just like I just want to know, like, I want to know the real things and not like the fluff that people, and you can tell really quickly when someone's like, when someone is like either authentic or not. Authentic, like online. So, when you see them on social media. So anyway, so that's how I started. So that's
what's one of your most interesting guests or one that you liked? Because we'll put a link to the show notes in it so people can go check it out.
I have so many. I feel like what I noticed, I'm going to try to think of like the one maybe that my last one was probably my favorite one. And I brought my laptop with me and we did it actually together because usually we do it on Zoom. So it's Amanda Rondeau, and she was actually like a breast cancer survivor, and she's like 44 years old, I think. So she talked about her journey, but yeah, I realized that when I was asking more people, I was like, okay, who's the next guest? Like, how can I like ask like people that are tougher to get or like whatever. And then I realized like the ones that were just like normal people in the community were like my favorite ones. Cause then they weren't used to be on podcasts. So they weren't, curated to like what, like the answers weren't already thought of. So I realized that and I was like, oh my gosh, like these were my favorite people. And they were like never been on a podcast before. And they were super excited. They would share it a lot more than someone that just is on podcasts all the time. Right. So I like realized that. So I'm like, I'm not going to like force myself to ask like, oh, the next big guest. Like I was like,
just follow your curiosity. That's what I've done with this podcast. Really, is just follow my curiosity so that's interesting. I also see a lot of people who start podcasts that get excited especially if they use a guest model, which I like because I'm always like to learn about people, but then they run out of guests, and then
I know it's a tough thing to do. Yes. Yeah. So one thing I decided last year, mostly because I was burnt out, and then we moved to our cottage. So I was like, I don't feel like having scheduling. Like I wanted a break basically of recording. Having to think about asking, who am I going to ask next? Asking them, getting them to fill it out. And most guests that I ask, they say yes and they do fill it out and book it. But I was just like, I just need like a mental break. So I decided to call it, seasons. So I'm like, okay, like season's over and then I'll see you in the fall. And so now I
love that about you. You're not putting that pressure on yourself but you're willing to start, but you're also not putting the pressure on yourself that you have to you can't change it, right? Sometimes people they don't start because they think they've got to launch it perfectly, and you never launch it. But in your case, you're figuring it out, and then you're like, I'm just going to call it a season, so I can take a break for the summer, and I'll come back later.
Yeah, because I just don't want to do it in the summer. Yeah, my mindset's different, and I just want to chill. I just want to give myself permission to relax a little bit and not be on the rush, like go train. Yeah, so I give myself permission to like whatever, when I'm feeling something like that, I don't feel bad about it. But also I sometimes realize when it's time to like, okay, like let's go to hustle. Like sometimes I get too comfortable, like relax, like being like, okay, whatever happens, like I'll just, you know what I mean? Like, so sometimes I'm like working from home.
That's okay.
But
that's funny.
My puppy.
Okay.
But yeah.
What, so has the podcast, like has there been any benefit for your mortgage business having the podcast?
Yeah,
directly
for sure.
Or indirectly? So
I've had
an example?
A few, I didn't check the numbers, but I did have a few guests, that we did their mortgage after. So like directly, we did business through that. And like referrals. So I get a lot of referrals, either from my guests, or people that heard one of their, like, do you know what I mean? Cause when you have guests, they share it to their people. So then you get like new followers and stuff, or, people I think can get to know you better hearing you talk, and just like, that's how I decide who I deal with, like basically, in my life. So yeah, I've definitely had, some mortgage, like mortgage business from it. And also like realtors. And I don't find like the realtors send a lot, like, I mean, I don't chase realtors. So, but I've had some and some are like, they're like, hey, like, when are you starting your podcast again? Like, you know what I mean? So they're like obviously listening. So, so it's nice. I think it's just, the trust level, it creates a trust level there for sure.
Right. You got on social media several years ago. One of the things that you're really good at is telling stories through social media. So like, give me an example of like how you think about that. Because one of the, and how do you curate stories? Because what I try to do is when I get an idea, I put them in this little list and then.
Oh, you do? Okay. So yes. I used to try to do that. Like, I need to make videos because I had started like a YouTube channel, like 2021 and it was going great, but I had to talk to someone, right? So I had another agent in our office, and we would just like chat about stuff like mortgage stuff and it was going really great. Like we were, but I find when I make a list of things that I need to, I like when something prompts me. So when I'm talking to a client and I'm like, oh my gosh, they don't know this. Like I forget that people don't know this.
Right.
And then that's when I'm like, okay, I'm just going to like take my phone and talk to it or whatever, tell them. But then you have that like feeling, right? So for me, I don't make a list. I really go with, when something comes, like basically I get a download from the universe, whatever, like, I don't know where it comes from, right?
From
it just comes in, I'm like,
I find a lot of my best ideas
conversations, music.
And then it's like, oh yeah. Right.
For me, sometimes I listen to like, in my car or like I have headphones with music on, like most of the time when I'm working. And sometimes just a song, will like, I get kind of like an idea from it. I just see something. I'm like,
give me an example. Like how can music?
So, okay, well, when I switched brokerage with Bricks, what's it called? We were so we were reported for our marketing or whatever with the with the licensing with the regulators. So then the song in like a remix, it was I feel like people are watching me, like that song. I forget so that
somebody's watching me.
Someone's watching. Yeah. So that I heard this song, I was like, oh my gosh. And then I saw like us just like, I don't know what we were doing, but I just like got that, like, so sometimes I get the songs first. I'm like, oh, we need to use this song. And then I see what we should do with it or just leave it. And then it comes. So I don't like push to like create content. I let it come to like me and then I do it. Like I have to do it though. That's the thing. Sometimes you get ideas and you don't like, you don't go ahead with it, right? You just like leave it. It's just an idea.
And I would say that's my mistake is that I get these, I'll have a conversation with someone and then an idea will come. And then when later I don't have the same, I write it down, but I don't have the same energy, emotional energy. The difference is the energy because you're like, oh my gosh, I just talked to this person about this, whatever it was, I talked to a guy who recently, an agent who couldn't, he tried to access his Facebook ads account, but he couldn't because his email was with his old brokerage. And so after that, I'm like, that's so like, I got to say something about this. So that I did create some content around it, but it's interesting. And I know that happens, but you forget to talk about it until you run into someone who's had that issue. Right. Or
you
like
have
in your
the
case,
intention.
you had trouble with your Google. You had the trouble with your Google account, right? Which was another whole other thing. So
yeah, I don't think I posted about it. I didn't do a video about that, but yeah, we had to restart our Google business page. But all good. I'm over it. Yeah. I'm over that. Yeah, almost. And you know what? I'm almost over it.
I try not to let it, because when you get into a negative headspace, you actually get dumber. They say like when you're positive, you're 31% smarter. So if you want to not problem solve and not find solutions, get mad and angry, and then you just get dumb. And then you're like, okay, I'm not even going to find a solution. So
it's not productive. You seem like
a very positive person.
I am. Yeah. That's probably my superpower, actually, now that you say that. Yeah, I can turn any like shitty situation into like, well, at least like, I can do that for anything or almost anything, pretty much. I'm very, I don't like to stay there in that headspace. It's like, I just want to move on. I just want to like leave that in the past, learn from it, keep going, keep going and feel good and be happy.
He's been accused of being toxically positive. Like, I think he's like, I would say I have the same. I'm like, he's here, like at the top. If you can't see my hand, it's high. I'm a few notches below, but he was homeless for a month with his brother, living in his car. And he's like, this is the best. I get to just hang out with my brother. And I'm like, who thinks that way?
I mean, like, yeah, I get it. Like, I could, like, I get that.
You can find, like,
clearly
really
it's not ideal, but you can find it for sure. I've always found it. Yeah. I'm always like, well, like, it's shitty, but like, we're going to figure it out or whatever. It's just, it is what it is. But just
what's sometimes the best? Okay. Like, so I got two questions, a couple of questions I want to ask. But one is, what are you most excited about changing in your business right now? I know we touched on this, but like, what are you working on that you feel like? And I want to just preface this by saying that you guys have funded a lot of mortgages, and without the real great systems like that, that you can put in place, like that you've got some things you want to fix. So talk to me about what you're doing there.
Okay, yes. So I'm really excited about we're like in the process of creating our like workflows. So like really like elaborate like automation. So I want to automate anything that we like send the same type of email or to our clients or to the lawyer, to the realtor, to keep them updated on where the file is. Anything that we can automate, like we want to do it. Also, when I say that, like I don't like having too many emails. Like as a client or anything. So I don't want to do that too many. I just want to do like the important ones. Like I just want to keep it going so that we don't have to do anything or think about having to do something, on our own. So I really want our system to be automated. So that's what we're working on right now. So we just like, jumped on My Broker Pro. And it can do a lot of things more than that, but like that's the base right now is what we're creating. So we're super excited about it.
So
I'm like, I can't wait to like not think about this.
Because people know this. I know people that run the whole business off a spreadsheet, and I think you guys did for the most part. So what shifted for you to go, wait a second, I'm going to do something different?
So I think I've been thinking about it for years of like, I knew I could do it. I just didn't feel like it. I didn't have the energy to do it or the mindset. So I was just kind of like, surviving, like just doing my best. And like, we've always been steady busy. So, I think it's more like when you start realizing that you don't want more deals, really, like subconsciously, you don't call people back soon enough. Or you don't answer messages, or like, you don't tell your clients you're approved for like 3 days. Yeah, like to me, that's an indicator. Like it shouldn't be like that. It's a good problem to have, but it's like enough is enough. I just basically, we switched to bricks, in May or like end of May, like June, basically. And when we switched, I think I was craving a lot of change. So it was like the best thing for me anyways. I really needed to change. And I changed everything. So we changed brokerage, which was like a quick decision we had to make like within 2 weeks. Like it was just a weird, situation. But I wasn't planning on switching, and I don't think I ever would have switched, which is weird. Like just cause I was so used to it, I wasn't looking at changing. So when I did, it was just kind of like, okay, well, what else do I like or don't like? Like I really analyzed everything. So I was like, okay, we went from Filogics to Finmo. So then we jumped on Finmo. I went from my, like you said, the emails. So we had to create new emails, don't have access to my old email addresses. And so I couldn't log into my Outlook. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to use a Gmail. So then now I'm like on Gmail. It's like I changed everything. And then I was like in the mindset for it. I was excited. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, like nothing's working. I was like, okay, whatever. Actually, this is good. This is good. It's fresh. It's new. Like, I'm excited. Oh, look at what
it's
this
like a reset.
Like,
it was like a reset.
It was
button.
A reset. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I even like changed my car, like Toyota to Honda. Like I literally changed teams on everything. And I was like excited about it. So, so I think it was just time. And, I had to, I guess at that point, I was just like, whatever, survival. But yeah, no, I was choosing. I was like, no, I don't want to fix the Outlook. I want to go into Gmail and for it to feel different. So I was just due for a change. Yeah.
Right.
And
That's
also
exciting.
I just want,
how do you find Finmo versus Filogix now that it's been a few months?
So once it's like you get used to it, I really love Finmo. Oh my gosh. So I feel like it's more like intuitive. At first, it's not because you're used to Filogix and where everything is.
When you can find everything is, there's always a learning curve to new software.
Yeah. So we had tried a few years ago to change to Finmo, and then I just didn't feel like I could like do a pre-approval quick enough. When people called back and they were like, what about this or whatever? And then I had to change things. I felt like I couldn't find anything. And I was like, I can't do this. So we went back. We were so busy. It was like 2022 or 3. I don't remember, but 23, I think. And, but yeah, so I already was familiar with it. We already had accounts, like old accounts, right? So, but yeah, I just love, there's a lot of things in there that's more, I can't like think about like right now, but, there's a few things that I like. We were already collecting documents somewhere else. But this one's fine. Like it works good. But yeah, no, I like the notes. Okay. My favorite thing is the submission notes that it writes your notes.
Yeah. Right.
Best thing ever. Yeah.
Right. That's good.
Yeah.
Is there anything I didn't ask you about that you think would be interesting to our listeners?
I mean, if we're like talking social media, cause I like to talk about that. I feel like people are always scared to like, or like, what am I going to post? Like, or how many times a week or whatever. I feel like people need to like just follow what feels right to them and stop following, like unfollow all of the like, you should be doing this and you should be doing that, or this many times like posting this many times it needs to be a reel. Like when there's too many rules, like I'm like, oh, I'm out. Like I need to like feel like intuitively it feels good. So I feel like if someone's not like posting about anything or just about mortgages, so like literally I don't post hardly about mortgages on my page. Like it's mostly my life or just random stuff.
And where do you, is it Instagram or TikTok, or where do you find them for you?
So I had started on TikTok for videos because I just loved the way that it was, that you could, edit them, but then they became like, then they copied it in the reels. So now I just do like Instagram videos or stories. I do a lot of stories, which is just my daily life. It's easy to post. Anything that I'm like, oh, like, I don't know. It's like during your day, there's things you can post about. And I just see it as like a storyline. So sometimes it's just like, oh, like I'm at home today. Like it doesn't need to be much. And it's just like, oh, my dog did something like funny or she's cute. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't need to be much. And I think people overthink about it. So if someone's like, oh, I need to do this, it's like, stop saying you need to. It's like, you can say, I just don't want to do it instead.
Right.
It'll feel better.
That's like ownership language instead of, I always said the should.
No, I try to, I still say it, but I'm like, oh, and then I correct it. Cause I'm like, it's not true. It's like, oh, I didn't have time to go to the gym. It's like, no, you chose not to like prioritize it. So yeah, I definitely.
Yeah. It seems to me like you have a very strong ownership bias in your mindset, right? A high level of they call agency, which is you get to choose versus the world's not happening to me. Yeah, the world happens, but then I get to choose. And I just think that's the way to live, honestly. I don't know that. And when I do, I get
it feels better.
It too. Yeah, I get sucked into it as well. But it is much better to think I'm always, even if there's a problem, it's 1% me. I'm like, okay, I want my 1%. What 1% did I contribute to this? So that I can then learn and I still have some ownership over, even if it's 99%, someone else.
100%. Yeah. No, if the kids like miss the bus or the bus is late and I'm like, oh, it's like kind of inconvenient, then I'm like, maybe I was going to get in an accident. Like that's why someone's protecting me.
That's my mom was
like I literally just try to change it. I don't stay there long. I'm like, and I'm like, okay, it's fine. Keep going.
Yeah. That's so good. Okay. Well, hey, Jolene, thank you for coming to chat with me. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to see what you do with your new processes on top of your already successful business. So thanks for chatting with me. And anybody listening, definitely go follow you on social.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Scott. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks again for listening. And hopefully you're inspired by my conversation. I know I was. And I always love when I see people do things their own way and not copy everybody else and build successful businesses. And as I mentioned on this episode, I find people that are in markets where the mortgages are smaller just somehow figure out how to be more efficient. So if you want to be more efficient, if you're in a big market with big mortgages, copy what the people do in the smaller markets because it absolutely works. And as I always say, there's no problem in your mortgage business someone else hasn't already solved. Your problem, or your challenge rather, is who's got the answer. And this podcast is designed to provide some of those answers. Thanks for listening, and I will see you on the next episode.